Welcome back. Now, fewer weather-related catastrophes in the second half of 2019 have seen short-term insurance company Santam beat the market's earnings expectations. The group had been hit by a number of catastrophes in the first few months of 2019, and that included fires, of course, out in the Western Cape, hail damage out in Newcastle in March as well, and even storms and flood damage as well out in KZN. The group did manage to raise its final dividend by 8% in the period compared to a year ago, but headline earnings per share dropping 1%. Lizé Lambrechts is Santam CEO, and she joins us now live from the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Lizé, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Still a difficult year. You still managed to pull what some may call perhaps a small rabbit out of this hat. How did you do so this year?
Arabella, thank you for talking to me. Yes, it was a difficult year. I think it's a difficult year for South Africa from an economic viewpoint. So we're very pleased with our gross written premium growth and very pleased with the underwriting margin. I think it's because we really managed to manage the risks and work with our clients to reduce the insurance risk as much as we can.
Yeah. How do you do that then in an economy where you don't know what catastrophes happen, you don't know what the weather, climate and situations might be? How do you put a risk premium like that on your business?
That's why we have actuaries working for us.
We work, people.
I mean, the short-term insurance industry is very volatile, and there will be years where we do really badly, there will be years where we do average, and there will be years where we do well. We work through the cycles through a number of years. We don't only look at it at 1 year, but we look at, sometimes got 100 years of history. So we use the 100 years of history to really price for the risk.
Yeah. In trying to then mitigate those risks and finding the right way to sort of move the entity forward, are you finding that the economy in itself is also hurting? Because people paying for those insurance premiums is also a big issue, right? And in a tough economy, one would imagine that people begin to forego certain insurances, much like the short-term insurances you offer.
We see some of that, but that's really where brokers also play an important role in our industry, where they advise and help clients to understand the importance of keeping up with their insurance, even if it's sometimes at a reduced level of cover, rather than to completely really cancel their policy.
Yeah. So did you get quite a few people cutting out their policies in that 2019 financial year?
We haven't seen that much of it last year, and as I said, I think it's testimony to the role of the brokers, but also in the direct business where we talk to our clients that they understand that rather reduce the premium. So we haven't seen that many of them.
Big plans then for 2020. Any of those ahead? Any thoughts, any minds in which direction you want to pull the entity towards?
I think the one thing that we really want to do is to use technology a lot more, so that we can give even better service to our clients, be more efficient. And then we really want to continue to work with municipalities in South Africa through our what we call Partnership for Risk and Resilience project, to help them to mitigate the risks in their municipality.
Yeah, are you finding that government is willing to get onto the table and start chatting to you about those sort of elements, which of course are very helpful?
We work really, really well with local government. We really work at municipal level with that project, and we find great cooperation from government in that regard.
Yeah. Crime stats also continue to obviously go on the rise, and that begins to affect premiums. How do you manage that in a difficult economy to try and keep them as low as possible, but ensure at the same time that you're covering the risk that you can cover, but not, of course, burdening yourselves too much either?
I think it is all about understanding what we cover, how we cover it, and to engage with our clients on how they can actually reduce the risk, even of crime. And through that, we keep the premiums hopefully at a manageable level.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very finally, we spoke about that outlook, but I want to just chat as well about a strategy perhaps, you know, for the next 5 years, aptly called Building a Future Fit Santam. Is that fully just your technological aspect, or is there perhaps a little bit more to that?
I think there is more to that. It's also about building our human capital, for instance, but also continuing to work with our clients to manage risks better, using technology, but that it's more risk mitigation and not only paying a premium to cover the risk after it happens.
Yeah, and that means no job losses then, hopefully, on your front.
No, we think we can do it with our job losses. We hope to grow into our employment numbers, and we're very proud of the fact that we provide good and proper jobs to over 6,000 people in Santam.
Lizé, I can tell you that South Africa's economy is breathing a sigh of relief at that answer, so really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time, Lizé. Appreciate the time that you have to have joined us then right here on SABC News, live from the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Lizé Lambrechts, the CEO of Santam, unpacking those earnings for us. For the short-term insurance industry, it continues to be a tough one, right? It's an industry where you have to mitigate against weather, mitigate against crime levels. You just don't know how things could go. And they've also entered the agricultural sector as well. So in times of drought, just how difficult is it to measure exactly what will happen and to what extent? So we'll continue to see how things fare in the insurance industry. Of course, more earnings news have certainly come out. The likes of Standard Bank having come out with a set of earnings. Even Momentum came out with earnings a little bit earlier today. We'll try to unpack those as well in a moment or two with our market analyst there, Viv Govender.